trying to get as much support and get people to talk about food sovereignty, not just as a concept, but as something that can actually work. There is a great example of it working in Brazil. It's a place called Belo Horizonte. It's a city of about 2.5 million inhabitants. And most of them were poor. Most of them really came from rural areas, and most of them were farmers. And what the local leaders did to spur the economy and to create the environment where the agricultural products can be produced and sold locally, and so that the farmers will be engaged to continue in farming and in fisheries. What they did was they chose the prime areas within the city to allow the farmers to sell their products and produce at a very, very low rate. And they found out that by putting them in the main arteries, by putting them in the strategic areas, one, the consumption of the local produce went up. Two, they found out that because they did not have to export the product and import it back in, because that is basically how the free market operates, and incur additional costs for transportation and fuel, they found out that the local consumers started to enjoy a 33% reduction in their food costs, while at the same time protecting the profit margins of the farmers. So the model can work, but it takes planning. And that is basically the aim of House Bill 4626. We really need to put a national food requirement plan in place and the corresponding agricultural infrastructure support plan. If you read the bill, the provisions are very clear-cut. You know, it is setting up the food plan, putting a strategic map in place, allocating the necessary resources to make the programs work, and designating specific areas that will only be used for food production, both on land and in the coastal areas.
My follow-up question is, yeah, you said something about the bill, but I think Father Paciente said that the country needs more than what's done in the bill. That's why in the next Congress, who will do this? If you're in the Senate, if you win in the Senate, who will be doing this filing of this bill, and why did it not move in the 15th Congress?
I can't answer why it did not move in the 15th Congress. And I had made my representations with the committee chairman. I guess it was not very high in the agenda, and they are free to decide what is important and what's not important. It has been filed, it has been submitted to the committee. We approached the chairman of the Committee on Agriculture in the Senate and spoke to him about this bill. And at one point they promised to file a similar version, a Senate version of the bill. It did not proceed. And I even approached, I even invited my father to one of the sectoral consultations in Cebu. But I guess it's like anything, any bill, you know, and if it's not yet time, kung hindi pa hinog, kadalasan nabibinbin yan. But the important thing is to start the discussion rolling. It's relatively new. The concept of food sovereignty is not something that is taking traction yet in this country. It is in other countries. Most of the countries in South America have embraced that concept. Some of the countries in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Vietnam now, are embracing the concept of food sovereignty. In fact, you will see it in their investments in agriculture. We are a country of 100 million Filipinos. The total land area that has actually been irrigated is about 1.4 million hectares for a country of 100 million. Thailand, for a country of 65 million inhabitants, they have about 10 million hectares of irrigated land. So they have actually invested into agriculture, and they have prioritized it. What is going to take really in this country is the adoption of an agriculture-first policy and the allocation of the necessary resources to get this through. But it can be done. We still have a lot of land and water resources that we can utilize if the policy is there.
Okay, we have started writing on food sovereignty, but it's only one article. And I think maybe we're raise awareness in Blood Watch in our future articles. And maybe that could be a step.
Yeah, you can start asking local restaurants, where are you sourcing the food that you are serving? Are you getting it from, within 50 kilometers? Are you supporting the local farmers? You can ask the manufacturers, Mr. So-and-so, where are you getting the raw materials for your, name it, your chips, your chicharon? Is it, within, 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers? Because there is an impact. There is an impact. Even, do you know Raj Patel? He's an economist. And he talks about the value of nothing. And I read an interesting part of his book, and he talks about the actual cost of the food that we eat. The actual cost of he talks about a hamburger in McDonald's being, a couple of dollars, $2 or $3 per patty. But if you were to factor in the actual impact on deforestation, because you had to clear the land, the actual impact of the emission of the trucks that had to go back and forth to raise the cattle, provide the feeds, provide the necessary water to the troughs of the cattle. If you had to pay for the electricity for running the abattoir and all that. That one patty actually is not $2 or $3. It's actually closer to $200. So it stands to reason that if you adopt the concept of food sovereignty, you take into consideration also the sustainability of a particular industry, and as ordinary citizens, we can start demanding our local restaurants, asking them, where are you buying? Tinatangkilik nyo ba yung ating mga local food producers? Tinatangkilik nyo ba yung mga local farmers natin? How is your basically your bottom line affecting the actual price of food in the marketplace? Those are the questions that we need to start asking.
Okay, I'll ask Quenchi now for the next question.
I saw a comment that it's a very popular movement. They call the locabore, being locabore, you have to eat.
Yeah. Buy local, eat local.
Food,
Yeah.
and that would reduce carbon footprint.
Carbon emissions, yeah.
We'll go to your turn. Si Wenchi muna.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Um,
Being married to a Tagayano, I go to Tugigaraw